Hello, we're live and welcome to the Midday Show. Just gone midday all over the UK, and therefore the Midday Show is going live. Hello to you and welcome. I'm Neil Long, and it's really good to be with you today. Hello, hello. And I've got two guests. It's probably not the show you were expecting today. Russ has pulled his back, unfortunately, so maybe our first guest can send in some healing vibes. We'll talk to her in just a moment. I can see her waiting in the green room, and I can't wait to get her on because I love talking about this stuff. So we're going to get her on very soon. We've got two guests going to do half an hour each, about two completely different but equally interesting subjects. And well, let's get her on and let's get to know her a bit more. Sharon Sammy. Hello there, Sharon.
Hi, how are you, Neil?
I'm really good. Thank you for jumping in at the last minute. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Put a call out on the bulb, as we colloquially call it, and said need guests, and I always get a good response there. And you were very first to say yes, I want to come on and chat about what I do. So tell us about you, Sharon. What do you do?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to say I'm a wife and I'm a mother of two beautiful earth angels. I always mention my family first because that is the whole reason why I do everything that I do. But I spent 20 years in the corporate banking world. But alongside that, 19 years ago, I started my own personal development journey, training in lots of coaching and healing modalities. And then I came out of the banking industry just before COVID hit, so January 2020, to then start my training and my coaching business.
I meet very few parents that call their children earth angels. In fact, you're the first.
Yeah, I do.
I love
absolutely.
it. I have had other slightly more colourful nicknames for children. Said with love, of course. But Earth Angels is a first on me. I love that. So how did the personal development begin? What was the first thing you read? What was the first sort of spiritually?
The first thing I read, oh my gosh, I should have got it off my shelf. Okay, it's called The Rules of Work. Okay, by Richard Temple, I think, The Rules of Work. And it was really funny. The funny story is that after I finished university with a banking degree, I got 3 graduate job offers. So I did the complete out of the box thinking. I re-interviewed the individual managers and said, well, why should I work for you? Which then landed me a 10.1% pay rise before I'd even stepped foot into the corporate office. But then on the graduate scheme, the whole thing was about leadership training. So I kept going up north to the head office, and every time I did go to the train station, I kept looking at this book, and I never bought it. It was $9.99, and I kept thinking, oh, I'll just read a page every time I go to the train station. And then one day I thought, Sharon, what are you doing? It's $9.99. It's an amazing book. Just buy it. So then I just bought it. And then on the train from Birmingham to Leeds, I was reading this book inside out. And I tell you what, it's like common sense things, but it's kind of putting it into context. And some of the things actually started to change my life. And then it kind of opened the door to going on to workshops. I won't mention the big tall guy in America. I went on the Unleash the Power Within, did the fire walk and all of that stuff. And this was, I'm talking like 20 years ago, about 19 years ago. And it was just life-changing, like overcoming the limiting beliefs, the thought processes, open myself up to gratitude, which is a whole story in itself, and then affirmations and doing the work and different things, which just kind of expanded my horizon.
Because we've all got the potential to do this, haven't we?
We have. Everybody, all of us have. The difference is whether we choose to do it or we choose not to. And that's the same thing as because I'm all about manifestation, turning your dreams and desires into a reality. And people think, oh, it's really woo-woo, it's very holistic, but actually it's not. Everybody is manifesting, whether they are aware of it or not. The difference is whether we're actually getting the things that we want compared to the things that we don't want. So everybody's manifesting. And it's like what you just said, Neil, everybody can do this. It's just, it's a choice.
It's a tough pill for some to swallow, isn't it? Because I think that most people, when they talk about manifesting, I didn't understand anything about manifesting. Okay?
Yes.
The only context I'd heard the word in when I was growing up was in almost a horror film context, like Frankenstein's monster is being brought to life. It's manifesting. Never did I have any idea it could be about an innate creative power that I had.
Yeah.
And then I read a little bit more, but the bitterest pill for people to swallow, I think, is that they might have had something to do with the not so desirable things that have happened in their life. Now that's a toughie, because people would say, "Well, I didn't manifest that. I'd never manifest that."
Yeah. But they do it subconsciously, because that's the thing. Yeah. They do it subconsciously, because I was kind of positively manifesting from the age of 6, like literally entered a painting competition. My mom came home with a leaflet from the bank, entered this competition. I painted the local park. She sent it off. There was no emails back then. I'm talking 40 years ago. So it was like literally, stamped it, post it through. And then 2 weeks later, I got a letter back saying I'd won 4 tickets to Alton Towers, which is obviously a theme park in the UK. And I was over the moon at 6 years old. I was like, yes, this is amazing. But then what I realized was, like, looking back, my neuro pathways were kind of forming into the belief that if I want something, I can have it. And that's why my Facebook group is called Anything is Possible, because I really believe it is possible. But it's like what you say, Neil, there. It's like some people, they go through life and they think, well, I didn't want the broken marriage. I didn't want the health conditions. I don't want all of these bills and my boiler to break down and my car to break down and all this doom and gloom. And then you've got the economy, I can't survive. I haven't got the money. I don't want this. I don't want this. I want the money. I want the money. I want the success. I want to be acknowledged. I want the soulmate. I want the family and all of this. But then what's happening is, and I'm not going to go woo-woo here with you, Neil, but it's like, they're sending the signals to the universe. One hand, they're saying, this is what I want. I want the soulmate relationship. I want the family. I want the pay rise. I want the promotion. I want to get rid of all of these health conditions. This is what I want. Okay, so I'll give you the analogy, something really simple for all the listeners, is if, for example, you're working and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I deserve so much more money for what I'm doing. I want to be promoted, or, I want to have a pay increase because we're coming towards the end of the year, pay incentives and all of that stuff. Not talking about the budget tomorrow, but pay incentives. And then it's a case of, they then start to apply for jobs, or they're putting it out there that, I want to be recognized. I want a promotion. And then what do? They send the application off. They get the interview. They don't get the job. They get the interview. They don't get the job. It's like a pattern. And then they think to themselves, okay, well, I'm going to send this application off. But in the back of their mind, subconsciously, they're feeling they're not going to get the job.
And that's it.
So they're sending mixed messages to the universe.
My coach would call that split energy.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's like one hand, they want it. The next hand is like, oh, I don't believe it's going to happen. Everybody else is better than me. The imposter syndrome comes in there. Oh, I'm not worthy. I'm not confident enough. I'll just apply for the job anyway and see what happens. Let's roll the dice and see what happens. Yeah. But that's that split energy you talk about, Neil. But then this is about activating the confidence and actually really believing in yourself and thinking, well, you know what? If I didn't get those previous jobs, and I can talk from my own experience here, because I resigned from banking earlier on to turn my childhood dream into a reality, which was to get onto TV. No acting experience, nothing. But
what did you do on TV? What did you do?
Yeah, so I wanted to be on TV. It was my childhood dream, like weather presenter, up north it's going to snow and all of this business. And I thought that was like really, really cool. But then I was like, I went into banking, got a fantastic job and everything else and stuff. And then 3 years into it, something happened. And then I was like in my mind thinking, I'm not happy here. What could I do? And then my mind said, like, your inner wisdom said, go onto TV. So then I kind of thought to myself, well, shall I do it? Shall I not do it? So I resigned from my banking position. And then after 52 rejections, so I understand, you apply, you don't get it. I went to the bottom of the emotional scale and I was like, oh my gosh, I've made the biggest mistake of my life quitting my banking job. But then after 52 rejections, I then got a yes. And the fundamental thing here which was total synchronicity, like what you said, Neil, about the light bulb group. You wanted somebody, and then here I appear. Well, the key thing was that the actual TV agent that signed me up was literally 5 minutes away from my banking office. So I didn't have to change locations. I didn't have to move. I mean, it was a little bit like nerve-wracking when I'd walk past the banking office to go to the TV agent, but it was great. And then I started doing background work like Hollyoaks, in the background with your fake glass of wine and all of this stuff, and in the post office and things. And then I got TV commercials. And then I kept pushing my agent to say, come on, you know, I'm really keen. I want to have a proper role. And he said, no. He said, you can't do it because you've got no acting experience. How's it going to look to everybody else? I can't put you forward for anything because you don't have any experience. So I didn't take no for the answer. And I always call it, you know, if you fail.
I'm guessing you were going to say that. I'm guessing that's the way the story's going. Yeah.
If you
don't know what, just an inkling.
So if you hear the word no, I always think it's like it's not a failure, it's a fail forward. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to be persistent and I'm just going to have that commitment and that drive and that motivation. So I kept ringing him up, and every day I kept saying, Mark, can you put me forward for something? Mark, can you put me forward for something? And he kept saying, no, 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 no. Well, having had 52 rejections beforehand, I was just like, I'm just going to keep going. And then on the 13th day, I got the no. He rung me up and he said, how do you feel about going to an audition for a top TV soap for a featured part? And I said, yes, let's do it. So I literally went. Okay. And I got the whole imposter syndrome when I was sitting there. There was other people with their portfolios, tall, you know, thin, you know, and I was there thinking, oh no, I'm the wrong ethnicity. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm too small. I've got no acting experience. The whole imposter syndrome while I was sitting there. Yeah. And then the angel on the shoulder came up, literally, you know, that same voice that I heard, like, go onto TV. And that whole inner wisdom voice came up and said, you've got this. Just act like you've got it. So I went in. There was all the producers, the directors, and everybody else. There was about 8 people in the room, little old me sitting down. And then the angel on the shoulder, I call it, my inner wisdom, said, you've got this. So they asked me one question, like you just did, Neil, and I've completely forgot what the question was. And I go off on tangents and start talking about everything. And then at the end of 20 minutes, they said, thank you. That would be all. And I was like, oh no, I haven't got the position. And then I went home that day, and then I got a phone call that evening, and I was told, you've got the position. So I was like absolutely over the moon. So I was featured in this role, which was absolutely, you know, fantastic. And then I had other opportunities as well.
What was it?
It was in Emmerdale.
In Emmerdale?
In Emmerdale, yay. And it was back in the day when Catherine Jenkins, so she was on and she was singing and she was performing, and we were in like a community centre doing the beauty pageant, and there was a lot of different scenes there. There was a fight scene, there was outside scene, there was lots of different scenes over those few weeks that I was in there. But the key thing here was that it kind of opened my eyes to actually thinking that it's not as glamorous as it's made out to be. And actually, I don't really want to do this, and I need to go back to banking. So I literally manifested, like literally the power of your thoughts. You know, you set the intention and then the opportunities come. And then I managed to land myself back into banking, back into the West Midlands where I wanted to come back to with my parents.
But you said you didn't want to go back into banking, so you changed your mind at that point? You said
yeah.
you weren't enjoying it the first time around. Was it better second time around?
Yeah, totally. Because here's the thing. When you're actually on the crew, you have the runner and the makeup artist and the hair people and everything else and stuff, and you get told what to do, your script, your lines. But the one thing that I don't like to be told what to do is literally be told what to do. So literally have your hair tied back. And every time I was on the scene, they'd plait my hair and I'd put all of these you know, the wispy bits at the front, and they had to keep doing the scene again because obviously they're shooting one direction, one angle, and my hair's down, and they're shooting another direction and my hair's up, and it's going to look inconsistent on the screen. So, and it was cold. It was very long hours, and it was really cold, and the outfits, like I had to wear dresses, show costumes for the beauty pageant, and it was freezing cold, long hours.
Well, people have this idea that anything performing in showbiz is glamorous.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell people that I work in radio, I do a breakfast show on radio, and people think, oh, that's so glamorous. I'm like, glam. Have you seen me at 7 o'clock in the morning?
Exactly.
Grabbing everything, jumping into my car and going to a radio studio. Glamour? Really?
Yeah. And that's the thing, because people think, oh, it's glamorous.
People do.
You know, it's amazing. But do you know what? And the key thing here, Neil, as well, was I couldn't use my brain in terms of I'd got a banking degree. I'd got 2 banking degrees by that point because I did all these qualifications in the leadership role on the graduate scheme for another banking degree qualification. Right. And I wanted to use my, numerical stuff, the stuff I'd been, that really, really, like, you know, makes me light up, like around money, around finances, foreign exchange, currency exchange rates, all of that stuff, like the buzzwords. And so I really wanted to go back into banking for that reason, to like make a difference to my clients and to, you know, just use my brain, basically. Not to say that actresses and actors don't use the brain, but it's a completely different life.
I think you use the phrase, it's what lights you up. So your what it's persistence, it's determination, and it's following, again, what my coach would call your highest excitement.
Yes, I love that. Highest excitement,
in these circles, whatever that might be, that might be. You know, there's no right or wrong in this at all, which is the beauty of it. Definitely. It's just what's right or wrong for you.
But here's the funny thing. I actually got 110% pay increase when I went back into banking. And it's so funny because this is the thing for everybody listening out there. You're probably thinking, oh, well, it's okay for her because of XYZ. But here's the thing. You can do it as well. Because first of all, it starts with a decision. And back 19 years ago, when I just mentioned to you, Neil, as well, when I went to this personal development 3-day course with this tall American guy, Unleash the Power Within.
Why can't we mention his name?
Oh, we can. Anthony Robbins. We can mention his name, Anthony Robbins. And he said this quote. And this is life changing. And I say it every single day. And I'm always saying it to my clients and people around me. It's in the moments of your decision that your destiny is shaped. Click of the fingers. It's in the moment of your decision, your destiny is shaped.
He had another clever use of the word decision, because I've read quite a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. And he's a master at what he does. He's brilliant. Yeah. And he sort of goes into the root of the word. It's like, if you think of it, scission, like incision, it cuts, but a decision cuts out every other possibility, all the ones where you won't succeed. And it's about focus, really, isn't it?
It is, because when you know what you want, you're taking that concise decision. And then once you've done that, then it's like a process, and I call it the manifestation process. It's like, you know what you want, then it's a case of, okay, really believing in it. And for you to believe in it, it's not like toxic positivity, like putting a brave face on and go, yeah, I can do it, and the affirmations, which do work, by the way, but it's about going to the root of it. Like, what is actually really stopping you from getting the things that you want? Because here's the thing, if nothing was stopping you, you would already have the things that you desire. So something is stopping you. Is it like judgment that if, for example, what's quite common is, oh, if I get a pay rise, or if I get all this money, if I win the lottery or whatever it is, you've got all this money, people won't like me. People, you know, that there'll be the jealousy, or, you know, people will exclude me, or, you know, money's the root of all evil, or all of this stuff, you know, all of this like childhood.
Which it doesn't say in the Bible, by the way, as I'm sure you know, but just the benefit of our listeners, that's not the quote.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
so it's like really believing in yourself. And when you believe in yourself and you uncover all of the limitations, then it's a case of, yes, you've got to take the action. It's like with me getting onto TV. It's not just going to land on your lap and go, yeah, I want to be on the TV. I want to get a TV agent. And then,
it's the action in attraction, as they would like to say. Yes.
Definitely.
Wow. So I think you started at a very early age, and it must have helped to have that neural pathway forming when you were so young, when you won the Alton Towers tickets, that, you know, yes, I can do this. And what a wonderful thing to be taught to, or to start developing at that age, and certainly to teach to our Earth Angels as young as possible, you know, if without being woo-woo, you know, just believe in yourself. And I like the persistence and all that sort of thing. So how did that segue from banking to now coaching people to follow their dreams? Because I've had a look at your website. I've done a bit of well-intended cyber stalking.
Thank you.
And it looks like, I mean, you've got a wonderful energy. I can virtually feel your energy coming out the computer screen.
Yeah, I'm just going to be straight with it. It was just like, I got married. It's going to be 13 years tomorrow. It's my wedding anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Out there listening. And he's like, what is she saying? But it's my wedding anniversary, like literally tomorrow, 13 years. But thank you. But then when I first started in banking, I was at home with my parents, single, young, free, single, all of that. The lifestyle was great, working 12 to 14 hours, traveling all over. It was a great lifestyle because I was in my early 20s and I didn't have like any dependents or anything like that. But then later on, you know, hitting almost 30, got married. Then I had my two beautiful Earth Angels. So I've got 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. when I went back after my second maternity leave, that's when it kind of hit me, because I was doing all of this personal development stuff anyway, and I was having coaching and healing clients on the side, and I was going to spiritual churches, doing all this different stuff. And then it hit me that when I went back after my second maternity leave, it was like, Sharon, you're going to be covering Wales and Milton Keynes and Oxford, and I'm living in Wolverhampton. So for those of you, if you get your maps and your geography out, you're like, I'm going to travel 2 hours a day and then 2 hours back. So 4 hours a day. And I've got little children, both of them under the age of 5. I've got my husband. I've got this high pressure job. How am I going to do this? And so I started doing it, and I realized that I was crying all the time. I was feeling burnout. I was feeling misaligned. I was like, I loved what I did with a passion. Don't get me wrong. I loved the job, the foreign exchange rates and the economy and everything. It really lit me up. But it was like I came home and I had no home life. I didn't see my husband. And if we did see each other, we were putting the kids to bed, bedtime routine, absolutely shattered. You don't have a life. And, not to say that if you're working, you don't have a life, but this was just my experience. And I just felt like I could do so much more and create so much more impact, but it's got to start with me. I need to change. What is it that I'm really passionate about? So I started doing a lot of personal development workshop training within the bank, Lloyd's Bank. I used to work at in the West Midlands. So I started there. It was like an internal networking, breakthrough, it's called.
Yeah. Oh, we seem to have frozen. Oh, we were just getting to the good bit. Well, it's all been good actually. Now this is very bizarre. Sharon seems to. I don't know if you can hear me, Sharon, but we seem to have had a freeze. I'm not quite sure why that's happening at the moment. It should unfreeze in a moment. Sorry about that. If you're watching, I hope it hasn't affected your enjoyment of the broadcast. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, we really have had a freeze, haven't we? It'll unfreeze in a minute. It's happens from time to time. Let's do a quick, cheeky. Looking good. Oh, bum. She's gone. Sharon. What's happened there? Let me just. I'll do all my introduction. I'll just send her a quick note to say jump back in. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about this. She's back.
Hi.
I have no idea what happened there. It's the vibes. Don't worry. So you're doing personal development in Lloyd's Bank. So you started pretty close to home, actually.
Yes.
Was that idea accepted in the corporate world?
It was. It really was. And here's the thing.
Maybe the time was right, because they used to be known as soft skills, and they were kind of found a little bit in the past, weren't they?
Well, the funny thing was, we went out on a night out, because there was a lot of banking nights out. It was somebody's leave and do or birthday or something. Yeah. We go across the road to the bar, and I'm having a few drinks and I'm talking to people. And then all of a sudden, this guy called David, okay, he's a real senior director, head of the whole of the country. He comes to me and he said, Sharon, come and see me in my office tomorrow. I was like, oh, okay, no problem. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be fired. I don't know what have I done? I don't know. What have I done? And I was so scared. And so the next day I knocked on his door, and he's got a massive office. This is on Colmore Row in Birmingham. German market's just started as well in Birmingham. I'm not plugging that by any means.
I love the German market. They're great.
And then he said to me, Sharon, I would like you to do a slot in our director meeting coming up at the end of the month. And I said, oh, no, I can't do that, because I don't cover your directors. I've got Oxford and Milton Keynes, and I've got the other area. You have to talk to your the person that looks after your managers. And he says, no, I want you to. I was like, well, what do you want me to talk about? And he says, I want you to talk about you. And I was really confused. Really confused. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. And he says, no, I was listening to you last night in the bar, and all of the things that you said that you've done, all of this stuff, can you just use that same energy and talk to my managers about it? I said, but what do you want me to do? Goal setting? And he says, no, just talk about you. Just talk about principles. Talk about anything. I was like, what? And I was really confused. So I didn't tell anybody in my office, because I was really embarrassed and I was really confused. Then I went into the office, And if you can think about this scene, there's 20 middle-aged white men. Sorry, I'm just going to say how it is, because it was 20 middle-aged white men. Because in
stale, pale, and male.
Yeah. And there's me, right, in my 30s with my black suit on, my red lipstick, my stilettos, walking in. So if you can imagine, I'm walking in.
Yep.
And then what do? I light a candle in the middle of the table. I light a candle. I'm not allowed to put incense on. And then I said to everybody, right, not got a presentation, but what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes. And they closed their eyes. And I thought, oh my gosh, the power.
I can't imagine what they're thinking at the moment. I can't imagine what was going through their heads. God, this is great. Go on.
I've got the clearance from David, so I thought, yeah, I'm just going to go with it. So I got them to take some deep breaths, and I got them to just to calm themselves down, do the mindfulness, which is what it's called today, mindfulness, a bit of meditation. And then I told them to open their eyes, and I got them to do a few techniques and stuff. And then I went straight into energy, like law of attraction, law of vibration. What you think about, you bring about. So I put it into the context of the corporate world. When you're going out to seal a multi-million-pound deal, call it a 25 million pound deal, which is like literally the norm for these guys. You're going to see a client and you're not too sure whether you're going to get it. So this is about you believing in yourself, believing in Lloyd's, believing in the product. Look at your mannerisms, your energy. So I started talking about this, which in today's world, it's like emotional intelligence. It's got a name. But back then it didn't have a name. So I was talking about cosmic ordering. I was talking about the energy, the fields, the vibration, which is like...
Were they receptive to it?
They loved it. And oh my gosh, I was so shocked because every time people saw me in the office, they were like, Sharon, what's your vibration level? What's your energy level like? And they were coming out with all these words and these phrases that I taught them. What you think about, you bring about. Sharon, what are you thinking about? Oh, I'm so happy and grateful today for the food in my fridge, for the roof over my head, for my husband, my wife, all of this they were coming out with. And so people in my actual department, they were stopping and they were actually realizing and they were saying, Sharon, why are all these people talking to you? You don't look after these people. You look after Milton Keynes and Oxford and whatever else. And then what happened was my manager spoke to David and said, what is going on? And then David actually told my manager, Sharon did a massive presentation and it was amazing. You should literally get her to train your team as well about energetics. So then my manager came to me and he says, well, why didn't you tell us? You're part of our team. You're not part of their team. Can you do it for us? And I said, yeah. So I did the same presentation. Then everybody in my office said, can you do part 2? And I thought, well, there's not a part 2. All right, let's do a part 2.
There is
so
now.
Then
yeah.
That then took me into doing other like training courses for like in my spare time. So this is weekend. This is like lunchtime for the actual networking. And this is for everybody in the bank in the West Midlands and the East Midlands. But I was still doing the day job. So that's the thing here. I was still being paid for the day job. This was doing it alongside it in my spare time, as well as having the children, having my husband. And then I just thought, everything is just misaligned. I'm on the brink of burnout. I'm not feeling happy overly because my home life is suffering at the detriment of my work life. My health, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing the things that really light me up because I'm just working. Yes. For what? And then I thought to myself, and this is like a realization if you're listening to this, it's like, if you think, how is your life going to be in, say, 5 years' time?
Yeah.
And I always say to clients, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if nothing changes in your life, it's exactly the same, say, this time next year, how is it going to make you feel? For me, it would feel really devastating because in life, I always believe we have to, we learn, we grow, we develop, we excel. But if you're still doing the same thing, over and over again, then feeling stuck on burnout, you've really got to take the action, activate the power.
What action did you take to get you to what you're doing?
Okay, mine's a little bit woo-woo, but I'm going to go with it because I'm going to tell you how it works. Okay, so I left in 2020, but what happened is when I went back after maternity leave, 2018, there was loads of redundancies. And I literally, and I can remember this, Neil, I put my hands together, and I'm not religious, but I put my hands together and I said, universe, God, whatever, universe, please don't make me redundant. I'm not ready. I'm really not ready. I need this job. I'm not ready. And that was fine because I wasn't made redundant. Then fast forward to December 2019, I'm driving on the M6, really, really busy on the way to Birmingham in a traffic jam. My phone is ringing, literally saying, Sharon, where are you? You need to be here. And I'm literally getting telling off on the phone because I'm not at the office at 7:30. I mean, I've got 2 little kids, you know, and I'm on the brink of crying. So this is what I did. I put my hands together. I'm stuck, like literally in a traffic jam. I'm not moving anywhere. I'm not going anywhere because I'm stuck on the M6. I put my hands together and I looked up at the sky and it's like really blink. It's like December. It's really raining and everything. And I says, universe, I'm ready to leave. I'm ready. Just let me know what I need to do, how it needs to happen, whatever needs to take place. But I'm ready to leave and I'm ready. And I was so ready, but I actually made that commitment, made that decision, like Anthony Robbins says, moments of your decision, your destiny is shaped. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I don't feel I had it in me to literally hand my notice in. So then on the 9th of January, 2020, I got a magical phone call. I was working from home and I got the whole redundancy, like, oh, Sharon, you've been made redundant. Oh. To which normal people would say, oh, no, you know, but I was like, yes. That's amazing, because what that meant was, but because I'd been in the banking world for so many years, I did get a redundancy package and things like that, which then set me up for the business aspect and things. But this is about, even if that didn't happen, I feel in 2020, I would have left the banking industry anyway, because it was so misaligned. But it's about stepping outside your comfort zone and doing what really lights you up.
And I think we can all learn so much from what you said. I mean, if you people watching the replay of this can pick out several key bits, you know, the energy, the persistence, the self-belief, asking yourself what's stopping you, what would you have to believe to be true for this to be your reality, is what my coach would say. And that you can make your dreams come true, and you're living proof of that. I'm mindful of time. It's been fantastic talking to you. If people, very briefly, what can you do for people if they come to you?
Okay, if people come to me, I can help you to really make that decision. What is it that you want to do? Cut out all of the noise. What is it that you want to do? Help you to overcome your money block so that you can, as I always say, reach your true greatness where anything is possible, because it really is. You can do it. Brilliant.
Sharon, Sammy, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the Midday Show. I'd be delighted to. I'll send you the footage of this later on. Feel free to use for any shameless marketing purposes. Absolutely. It's been really lovely to talk to you. What a wonderful energy. What a great start to the week. Thank you, Sharon. I'm going to bring our next guest on.
Thank you so much, Neil.
You're welcome. You're welcome to stay. If you'd like to stay and chat with our next guest, you're very, very welcome to. Or if you want to go, that's absolutely cool as well. No problem at all. But lovely talking to you, Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
You're welcome. Laura Dolphin, hello to you, and how are you?
Hi, Neil. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How are you this lovely Monday?
She said ironically. Sharon's giving us a wave. She's off. Sharon, all the very best.
Bye, nice to meet Laura.
I'll send you the footage through later.
Thanks.
I am not too bad on this lovely Monday morning. Said with some irony. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. This is actually my first call post having a rather awful cough, so I'm hoping my voice holds out for it. But I've been waiting for this lovely opportunity to join you, so I grabbed it with both hands, and lovely to jump on and have a good conversation.
And I'm very glad you did. Well, tell us all about Dolphin Outsourcing. I can guess where the name came from. Don't need to tell us that bit, but tell us the rest about it.
Yeah, so the name of the business does come from me rather than the other way around. So I have been asked that question, did you rename your name after your business? And I said, I don't really know why anybody would do that. But no, I did not.
I didn't think that for a minute.
So I married a dolphin. So that's how I came across the name.
That's a beautiful thing. And not in the Jerry Springer kind of way.
So basically I started the business up out of necessity. When I was looking for flexible work. At the time, I was an Army reservist, I was a military spouse, I was a new parent, and my health was declining. And so I was really needing something that was somehow flexible around all of those things.
How long were you in the forces for?
So I served for just under 10 years as a reservist. So yeah, not quite a decade, but it felt like it. So but yeah, so it was a a very challenging 10 years of juggling normal life, as we call it, and also the reserve commitments. And then I met my partner through my reserve commitments, and so then added the further level of complication of being married to a full-time regular serving.
I'm trying to think how anybody could juggle that. I mean, talk about contrasting worlds. I mean,
and then of course we added a child into the mix as well. So just to make it even more complicated, not quite sure we could have managed it, but we did. And then also my health started to decline. So something had to give, and unfortunately that was my Army Reserve commitment. So I was discharged in 2020. But it's something that gave me a bit of a spirit, shall we say, to carry on regardless. And that's what I've tried to do with creating my business. I needed something to work on my terms, and I felt the only way to do that at the time, this was in 2018, was to go self-employed. So I did that. Of course, then the world decided to almost collapse in on itself when COVID hit. That was perfectly well timed, just at the end of my first year of having the business, so that was helpful. And yeah, I think every day I've kind of come forward to this thinking, how can I do this to help other people? It wasn't just about helping myself. I realised that actually there's a lot of other people out there with their own juggles, not necessarily my same juggles as me, but their own very valid juggles, and needing to have a level of flexible work. And so that's where the Dolphin Outsourcing company originated from, was realising that it wasn't just me, there's lots of us out there. So this last year, actually, we've just been rebranding. We're now a social enterprise, having, I think, really been a social enterprise from the get-go, but not being labelled as such. But it seems to make a lot of sense. It really hones in at what really runs me, and that is a innate desire to try and support and help people. So I think, it's all coming together. It all makes much more sense now than it did at the very beginning. Relaunching essentially as a social enterprise, working to try and enable people to access work on their terms. So that's more about whether...
And that's the key 3 words, isn't it? Because in today's confusing, fast-paced, juggle a million plates at once world, that's the thing, on their terms. I mean, some people might not even think that's possible, but we're here to tell them that it is.
It is, exactly. And I think this is the thing, is that we are in the process of launching a campaign called Do Pass It Forward. And this is all very much about trying to enable people and enable businesses to think slightly more out of the box. So what we want to try and do is we're looking at education on both sides of that table. And then we are looking at trying to excel and enable people to access more work. So it is part of a huge picture. And as you quite rightly said, there's a lot going on, which we won't get too political about, otherwise we'll be here for days. But we are very much wanting to try and change that landscape. And personally, I feel that the more we can enable people who want to and can work in some way, the more we can do to enable those people to access said work, the better that will be, not only for those individuals and the businesses, but for the wider economy as well.
And any politician worth their salt would see that.
You'd think.
You'd think. I mean, we could get very political, but to be fair to you, most people just moan about politics and moan about the state of the world. There's plenty of moaners. At least you're doing something about it.
And I think this is the important thing, is that, as you say, we could join the voices, and there's some very amazing voices out there saying their piece and getting attention, and that is great. And what we're not trying to do is diminish that. But I think, like you say, it's time for action. I'm quite fed up of just sitting around waiting for somebody else to come up with an idea to fix things. So we are.
I don't think that will ever happen. I think we've got this bit of a false idea. I see this in. I'm not going to get political, but I'm really not. But you see this with all the successive governments, everyone thinks it's almost like a savior thing. This person can save us, that government can save us, and that's not the case. Particularly if you know, bearing in mind our last guest, it's not down to the government. No matter how good the government is, and I'm sure there are some brilliant politicians out there. Yes, said it, but I'm sure there are some really good ones. But not one person.
No, and the thing is that, you know, should it be down to one person? And I don't think it should be down to one person.
It shouldn't be, and it can't
it's a
be.
team approach. Yeah, you know, we are part of a society, and that society will only work well when it works together. If we're constantly pitting each other against each other, how is that going to be a successful society?
Well, it's not, and political point scoring and bitching and all the other political terms, which I don't really know because I'm not very into politics. It just simply doesn't work. It's not a particularly enlightened approach. You know, just making the other person wrong on principle really doesn't work. That doesn't solve anything, does it?
No.
But, you know, grassroots action like yourself, you know, from small acorns do very big trees grow.
Exactly, and that's the hope, really. So this next step really is where, well, we are getting slightly political. So we are actually in the process of writing to governments with actually some ideas that we want to share with them, rather than just having a whinge. So we're looking to try and put our two pence
well received.
We'll see. Hopefully, we haven't sent it yet, so fingers crossed. But I will be publicising it, the letter, once it is fully drafted, and we're happy to have it sent. We will be putting it public as well, so that everybody can have their 2 cents too. It's just one idea. Will it be the right idea that fixes everything? I don't expect it to be, but at least we're coming forward with some ideas to share. But also fundamentally, what we want to do is we want to make some action, even if it's on a smaller scale. So that is what we're trying to do as a business. As I say, we're a social enterprise, so we are fueled by our desire to do social good and to improve people's lives. That is something we're working hard to do. And we're looking to do that in various ways. So obviously, you know, as I mentioned, we've got this campaign that we're launching and we're working on, and we're looking for sponsors and businesses that want to get involved and be seen as actively involved in that. And that's the Do Pass It Forward campaign. .org, if anybody's Googling it. So we
I'll pop it on the screen if you like. Now we're talking about that. Let me just I'm just looking at another screen. I'm doing 2 things at once.
That's okay.
Multitasking, which is unusual for a man.
But yeah, so we've got this Do Pass It Forward campaign. That's a big part of what we're trying to work on. We're looking for involvement from that. But also, just as a day-to-day running of things, we are a service provider. So as a service provider, we want to work with businesses who maybe would rather have a guaranteed level of service and not necessarily have to worry about who they're working with. So what we're trying to do there is we're trying to reduce the level of risk thinking mentality. I don't like putting it in this way, but I feel like it's the thing that most people don't say, but a lot of people are thinking. Hiring somebody who needs flexibility because they are disabled, or they are a carer, or they are a parent, and they have other things going on in life that can pull them into, and rightly so, you know, there are very important things in life that we need to be able to focus on.
Of course.
Unfortunately, though, often these people are not necessarily outwardly labelled, but inwardly labelled as troublesome to work with. And I don't agree with that personally. I think it's more the style of how they can work rather than their ability to work at all.
Why would they be labelled as troublesome? That doesn't seem. I believe you, but it doesn't sound right to me.
So, as I said, you know, there's a fine line, isn't there, between what people and businesses are allowed to say versus the way people are thinking. And you know, unfortunately, if somebody has got a disability, that might be a challenge, because maybe a manager has not worked with somebody with a disability before, or maybe they need more time off because they need medical appointments. Just a couple of examples.
Now that's interesting. Where does the responsibility fall? Because I had a conversation with a neurodiverse friend of mine, and she made very clear that she didn't think that businesses made any kind of effort at all. And I wasn't sure because I hadn't had her experience. Are there legal requirements to employ a certain quota of I don't know. Tell me.
I think the thing is that you're not supposed to discriminate against people.
For sure.
So obviously discrimination is not okay, and can be taken further if you can prove it. And unfortunately, that's where the big black hole is the if you can prove it. If a
and then, of course, there's the other side of it, that if they're not good enough for the job, you shouldn't employ them just to tick a box. That's the other side. That's not fair to the business either, is it?
No.
And there's a delicate fine line there, I would have thought.
It is a delicate and fine line. And I think this is where we wanted to come in with providing the services that we do as a service provider, is that we are contractually obligated to provide a certain level of service. And if we don't provide that level of service, that is our failure against that contract. Whereas when you hire somebody and if they go off sick for 6 months, they've not failed to agree to your terms of your contract. They have simply gone off sick for 6 months. If we have a member of our team go off sick for 6 months, we are still obligated to provide the service. It might just be somebody else that has to step in. So it removes that level of risk a little bit.
It removes the risk from the business, because all businesses are probably should be risk averse, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
But if, as I'm sure you are, if you're a trusted name, people know they can. It just comes down to the most simple marketing mantra: people buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. And if they can trust you that you will provide a good service, it removes the worry. Perfect.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think, on one side, we're thinking about what the business is worried about. And on the other side of things, we're thinking about what the workers are worried about. So I say workers there because we work with hiring directly and also freelancers. So we work with both. And one of the things they are often worried about, especially if they've got a disability or something else going on in their lives, like care responsibilities, is, well, what will the company think of me if I need to go and do this? Well, because we're providing a service, we'll fill the gap. So if they have a child that's disabled and their health declines and they need to take a week off to go to appointments and go to hospital and everything else we provide the filler gap so that the company still gets that consistent level of approach. The company, though, as a looking at this as a whole, why would they choose us over a standard profitable provider? Well, I think there's a lot of businesses that say they want to try and improve on their metrics, right? You've mentioned already about the box ticking approach. And whilst I don't want it to be a simple box ticking approach, using us, though, does tick those boxes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Box ticking is the best phrase I could come up with. It's normally used in a negative way, isn't it? And I certainly didn't mean it in that way.
No, that's okay. And I think, the thing is that so many people do think about it that way. And whilst I'd rather them not, the thing is, as I say, by ticking the box and choosing us, not only can they say to their supply chain and their customers, we partner with a social enterprise, they are working to be socially responsible, etc. They can shout out loudly with a positive sense that they are working with us. Even if for them it's just a tick boxing exercise, we know that we're not just ticking boxes. We know that we are at the core delivering on the social improvement.
I can hear your passion. I mean, this is a very personal thing for you, isn't it? I mean, not that you need to be Einstein and work that out, but it's very obvious, and it's really good. It fills a need, a very big need as well. Because and also sometimes I like the fact that you're thinking about both sides, because sometimes you would think never the twain should meet, but the twain is meeting, and it's meeting well.
And it really needs to be, because I think we're at this really critical point as a country. And sorry, I'm getting political again, but in the big picture, we are at a tipping point, aren't we? Because the government's turning around and saying, well, the disabled community is costing us too much. We're going to make it harder for people to get benefits. We're going to put more restrictions in place. We're going to reduce budget spending on things like access to work, even though they're supposedly not doing that. They are doing all of these things to fight against disabled people, saying, let's get disabled people back into work. But where's the jobs? Where's the flexible jobs that enable said disabled person or somebody with care responsibilities, etc.,
I
to be
think
able
if you
to
put the
access that
right person
flexible
in the right
working?
place, you put the right person. I've always believed this in a supportive environment, and people absolutely thrive. I mean, for me personally, I'm careful to use the word disability because it's not always necessarily. It might be in normal society a disability, but I think Rain Man, just off the top of my head, something that people might think was I mean, I know I do stand-up comedy, and I know many neurodiverse and autistic comedians, and they're brilliant.
Yeah.
And I would find it very difficult to call that a disability.
No. And yet that is the bracket that they are put under, unfortunately. And I think, like you say, having the right environment that supports them.
Yes, but disability, not so much. Not so much.
And I think this is the thing, isn't it? Is that, when you are labelled with something like you are disabled, it's a hard one to think of. Like I didn't used to call myself disabled. It took me a number of years before I came to terms with using the term disabled.
Okay.
And the thing that I used to think about is that I was alternatively abled instead, and that fit better for me because I didn't like sort of I felt initially that it being called disabled was a negative thing. And there's a lot of negative association with that. Whereas being differently abled, I'm able to do all of these things, but in a slightly different way to how somebody else might be able to do it.
Yes.
So for me, commuting into London every day, I'm just up the road from London in Northamptonshire. It's an hour's commute to London, but then getting around London is horrific. Trying to negotiate the tubes is very, very hard work. It's exhausting. By the time I'd even get to a job, I'd be exhausted, let alone having to do the reverse again. And then the flip side to that is you go, actually, well, why don't I use a taxi instead? Well, I go into London every so often, and I can tell you now a taxi costs a huge amount of money, and to do that every single day is not going to work. And unfortunately, the systems like Access to Work that's supposed to be there to enable me to access work and those like me to access work, unfortunately, is so oversubscribed for and is effectively buckling in on itself at the moment, that it's just it's not really showing us what it can truly be capable of. And so lots of people are being failed. So whilst, a standardly abled individual could very much commute an hour into London and then get from Euston, I think it is, to a nearby tube station very quickly, for somebody who cannot do that, that becomes a huge barrier to be able to access that work. But yeah, so as I say, so we've kind of got this service-based provision that is there to try and enable businesses to go, do you know what, we do want to do the right thing, or we need to tick a box, or however they want to think about it, whether it's a positive or a negative thing. If they want to use us, I want to encourage them to use us, because we know that at the end of the day, we are going to fundamentally make a positive impact on people's lives and deliver the service that they're looking for. We then thought, okay, well, what if they don't want to have this service provision? What if they want to hire people directly and they are happy to support a flexible workforce, whether that's flexible in hours or flexible location or whatever that flexibility looks like? What if they are happy to celebrate that? We're not really actively supporting that group of businesses. So that's why we've now launched our brand new beta version currently. It's just coming out at the moment. Jobs and talent board called Flex Forever. And so that's basically, it's just a new platform that we've created as part of the Dolphin organization to enable businesses to find their new talent, whether that is by looking at the talent resource that are already on there. They are already people getting their names on there, getting their skills, uploading their CVs. That's all going on there at the moment. So we only launched it 2 weeks ago, and we're already starting to get people on there just from the odd comment on LinkedIn. So people are seeing that there's a reason for this to be there. So we want to encourage businesses to choose a social enterprise over maybe a profitable organization to help recruit people that need to work flexibly. And so that's why we thought, by having the two approach, the social enterprise being, the service-based side of things, providing the service, and then the recruitment, jobs board.
Well, you've covered every angle, haven't you? You're covering all bases.
Yes.
It's clear you've thought about this quite a lot.
Yes, just a little bit.
Just a tad, yeah.
So actually, I tend to class myself as an ideas sort of person. So
yes.
I spend a lot of time, whether I intentionally or not, thinking about things that we could be doing. But I also transfer that to the businesses that I work with. So I do consultancy and business mentorship. So I actually transfer that knowledge and that brain power to working with other businesses as well.
Yeah. What part of it do you enjoy the most? What aspect of it is the most fun for you, or most fulfilling?
Oh gosh. I can't really say all of it, can I?
You can.
I do.
I'll take that.
I do love all of it. I mean, I think the thing that I love to do is I love creating. So I've always been a creative sort of person. But whether that's something visual or if it's an amazing little spreadsheet that I'm really proud of putting together, I'm a creative in various senses. So
yes.
Because I work operationally as well as having had a creative background, it's a kind of combination of skills and experiences that you don't often see very much, which is why I think businesses like working with me. I'm sort of one of those many hat wearing individuals that annoys the hell out of some people. But I have a very broad view. I can look at the big picture and think, okay, well, where's the gaps? What things are we worrying about or not worrying about when we should be? And that's something that I really enjoy doing, is being able to come in and just be supporting of people. Working with people is a love-hate relationship. There's amazing people out there that are amazing to work with, whether it's hiring or working with their company. And then there's some people that are really challenging to work with. So I think it's one of the love-hate relationships, a bit Marmite-like, is working with people. But if I can make, an impact for a handful of people in my lifetime, that's an impact that can go beyond me and, have a positive impact on their families. And this is something that, again, I'm really passionate about, is just making that.
And the concept is there now, which maybe it wasn't before. You've brought the concept, a new framework, a new structure, a new paradigm almost, if you like, to the market, to the world, to the working world.
And I just think, if we can lead by example and show people that, we can go out there and we can do these business services as a social enterprise. It doesn't always have to be for profit. Let's think about the bigger picture, about enabling people and making a positive impact on the environment or on the economy. Then why not? Does it? I'm not doing this to get rich quick, to sell the company on, to go and buy some yacht or island somewhere. I'm doing this because at the end of the day, when my time's up, the only thing that I have in that moment is what I've achieved in my life. And I think that, having a bunch of money and spending that, for me, isn't the thing that's going to fulfill me. Helping people and knowing that I made a positive impact with as many lives as I can is the thing that I'm going to feel most grateful for when it's my time.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you for being on. It's been really, really, really interesting to learn about the cut of your jib. Lots of places people can go if they'd like to explore more. Excuse me.
That's okay. And thank you so much for having me. And if anybody has any questions, I'm an open book. So very happy for people to come and find me on LinkedIn or pop me an email.
On LinkedIn or dolphin-outsourcing.co.uk. There's the all the W's, do pass it forward.org, and there's flexforever.org. Laura Dolphin, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What I'll do, I'll send you the footage of this later, if you like. Feel free to delete it from cyberspace and never let it bother your inbox again, or feel free to slice and dice it and use it for any social media or marketing purposes, as seen on the Midday Show. Laura, thank you very much indeed, and good luck with everything. And keep in touch as well. I'd love to know what response you get from the government. So if you have any big breakthroughs, let's get you back.
Amazing. I will let you know.
Yeah, please. Just you've got my details, my contact details. Just hit me up on the socials and say, Neil, this has happened, and we'll definitely get you back on.
Amazing. Lovely. All the best, Neil. See you later.
All the best to you. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, two absolutely fantastic guests today. Two very, very passionate ladies, and it was a joy to talk to both of them. We've got Kate Greenhall coming up on Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. More about that on Wednesday. I'm sure you'll like the cut of her jib as well. If you did get in touch with me on Lightbulb today, thank you for doing that. It's a really good place to get guests, actually, and I meet all kinds of interesting people there. So, and if you did get in touch with me today, I've got your name now, and I might be darkening your inbox with a cheeky request to be on the Midday Show very, very soon. But I thank you for watching. If you're watching the replay, I hope you got some useful stuff out of it. I'll just pop those websites up. Our first guest was the lovely Sharon Sammy. What an energy she had. Wow. SharonSammy.com. And an equally wonderful energy was this lady, Laura Dolphin, dolphin-outsourcing.co.uk. Thanks for tuning into the Midday Show. Russ, get well soon, mate. He's pulled his back and he's in a lot of pain at the moment. So Russ, get well soon, my friend. But I'm sure Russ will be back on Friday and I can give you an update on Wednesday. Take care and a very good afternoon to you. See ya. I've got to press the end button and do a cheesy grin until it goes.